You've been thanking the universe for things you already have while silently begging it for things you don't. That contradiction is why your manifestations stall. You feel grateful in the morning, then spend the afternoon in lack, and your subconscious registers only the longer signal. By the end of this, you'll understand why gratitude works the way it does, and why the version you've been practicing has been keeping you stuck. Most people treat gratitude like a politeness ritual, a spiritual please and thank you directed at the cosmos. You write in your journal, you list 3 things, you feel a warm glow for 45 seconds, and then you return to the feeling tone of your actual day, which is wanting, yearning, waiting. The journal entry said, "I'm grateful for abundance." The next 8 hours said, "I need more money." Your subconscious heard both messages. It chose the louder one. Gratitude, when it actually works, operates on a principle most practitioners never examine closely enough. It signals completion. The feeling of genuine thankfulness is identical, in its internal signature, to the feeling of having received. Think about the last time someone handed you exactly what you needed at exactly the right moment. A check arriving, a call coming through, the relief, the settling, the exhale. That exhale is the frequency. That specific quality of inner release is what your subconscious reads as done. And when your subconscious reads something as done, it stops generating the tension of pursuit. It begins organizing reality around the assumption that the thing exists. Neville Goddard taught this with surgical precision. He called it the feeling of the wish fulfilled, and gratitude was the shortcut into that feeling. You don't need to build an elaborate mental scene. You don't need to visualize for 30 minutes. You need the thanking that comes after. The thanking that assumes delivery already happened. But here's where most people collapse the distinction. They thank for something they want, rather than thanking from the state of already having it. The difference between those two is everything. Thanking for something you want reinforces the wanting. Your body knows the truth of your state. You can say the words "thank you for my new home," while every cell in you vibrates with the awareness that you're sitting in a cramped apartment you hate. The words hit the subconscious and bounce off. They carry no charge. They're a lie your deeper mind immediately flags and discards. You feel this as flatness, that hollow sensation when affirmations feel like performance rather than truth. Thanking from the state of completion requires something harder. It requires you to enter the feeling first, then let the gratitude arise naturally from within that feeling. You settle into the reality of the wish fulfilled. You breathe as that person. You feel the ground beneath your feet in that life. And then, from inside that scene, thankfulness wells up organically, the way it does when something genuinely good has happened. That organic welling, that involuntary softening behind the sternum, carries the vibrational signature your subconscious obeys. So how do you get there when your current reality screams the opposite? You practice in small things first. Remember a moment when something worked out perfectly, an unexpected kindness, a synchronicity that made you laugh. Feel the gratitude you felt then. Notice its texture, the warmth, the openness, the absence of grasping. That absence of grasping is the key quality. Gratitude in its true form contains zero reaching. It's the opposite of reaching. It's the hand that has already closed around what it sought, now resting. Train yourself to generate that specific inner posture. Rest without grasping, and then apply it to your desire. You're teaching your desire with completion rather than with lack. Every time you think about what you want, the old pattern fires. Longing, tightness in the chest, the subtle anxiety of when you're going to intercept that pattern and replace it with the exhale. The settling, the thank you that comes after the package arrives. This takes repetition. Your subconscious has been receiving the signal of lack for months, maybe years. One morning of genuine gratitude doesn't overwrite that. Neville was honest about this. He spoke of persistence, of returning to the state again and again until it becomes your dwelling place rather than your visiting place. The dwelling is what matters. Where do you live, emotionally, most of the time? That's what manifests. A 5-minute gratitude practice, followed by 16 hours of worry, simply reinforces the worry. The Kybalion describes vibration as the fundamental principle underlying all manifestation. Everything is in motion. Everything vibrates at a specific frequency. Your emotional state is a frequency. And gratitude, real, embodied, grasping-free gratitude, vibrates at the frequency of completion, of having, of fullness. When you sustain that frequency long enough, I've been playing 432 Hz retuned tracks to retune while I sit with this. Link in the description. Your external reality begins reorganizing to match it. The bridge of incidents forms. Circumstances shift. People appear. Opportunities surface that were invisible from the frequency of lack. But you need to understand something that trips up even experienced practitioners. The reorganization doesn't always look like what you expect. You might assume the money will come through your job. It comes through an inheritance. You might assume the relationship arrives through a dating app. It arrives through a neighbor's dinner party. Your gratitude signals completion to the subconscious, and the subconscious delivers through whatever channel is most efficient. Your job is the feeling. The logistics belong to a deeper intelligence. This is where trust becomes the practice. You've generated the feeling, you've sustained it, you've caught yourself slipping into lack and gently returned to the exhale. And then, nothing visible changes for a while. This is the testing ground. This is where most people abandon the frequency and conclude it doesn't work. They drop back into the old vibration of frustration and impatience, and the subconscious registers that shift immediately. It reads, cancelled. They don't actually believe it's done. The discipline of sustained gratitude through the silence, through the gap between the inner shift and the outer evidence, is the entire practice. Anyone can feel grateful when life delivers proof. The mastery is feeling grateful before the proof arrives. Feeling grateful as though the proof already exists in a dimension you can't yet see with physical eyes, but can feel with absolute certainty in your body. There's a reason every mystical tradition lands on this same principle from different angles. The Psalms overflow with thanksgiving offered before deliverance. Islamic practice includes gratitude as a form of worship that precedes the blessing. Buddhist metta meditation cultivates the feeling tone of well-being independent of circumstance. These traditions converge because they're all describing the same mechanism. The internal state precedes and generates the external condition. Your gratitude practice needs restructuring. Stop listing things you already have as a warm-up for asking about things you lack. Instead, enter the feeling of your fulfilled desire. Sit in it until it becomes real enough to produce its own gratitude spontaneously. That spontaneous gratitude is the signal. Everything else is just words. One practical method. Before sleep, as your mind enters the drowsy state between waking and sleeping, feel yourself in the completed reality. Feel the relief. Feel the doneness. Let a single phrase of thanks arise. Short, natural, the kind you'd murmur under your breath when something finally clicks into place. Thank God. Finally. Yes. That drowsy state impression penetrates your subconscious without resistance. The critical mind has stepped aside. The feeling imprints cleanly. Do this nightly. The same scene. The same quiet thanks. And during the day, whenever you notice the old frequency of wanting creeping back, the tightness, the checking, the anxiety of when, interrupt it with the exhale. Return to the posture of having received. You'll slip out of it constantly at first, dozens of times a day. That's expected. The slipping is the old habit dying. Each return to the completed state weakens the old pattern and strengthens the new one. The critics within the spiritual community will say this is too mechanical. That real gratitude can't be manufactured. They have a point. Forced gratitude is hollow, and your subconscious knows the difference. The answer is that you're not forcing the emotion. You're placing yourself in the conditions where it arises naturally. You enter the scene first. The feeling follows. You don't squeeze out gratitude from your current state of lack. You shift states first, then let the gratitude bloom on its own inside the new state. The distinction is subtle and crucial. Your subconscious mind is always listening. Every feeling you sustain is an instruction. Every emotional state you dwell in is a command. More of this. Build the outer world to match this inner world. When your sustained instruction is gratitude, the real kind, the kind that arises from assumed completion, you are programming your reality with the most potent signal available to human consciousness. Tonight, close your eyes and feel the life you're choosing. Let it become so real that thanks rises unbidden from your chest. Hold that feeling like an ember you're protecting from wind. And tomorrow, when the old world tries to convince you nothing has changed, remember, the signal has already been sent, the frequency is already broadcasting. Your only task now is to keep the station tuned.